the United States. In fact, we have offices in Canada, in Australia, in the United Kingdom and Europe, and also in Mexico and even in Peru too. So we have a great outreach to Latin America. And I want to introduce you to people from these various countries to tell you a little bit about what's happening in each of those countries. So first of all, Calvin.
Hello.
You're from Canada.
Absolutely.
And tell us what's going on in Canada. I mean, Answers in Genesis is in Canada.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been an incredible launch year for us here in Canada, and I feel like my tongue's kind of hanging out. I've been hitting the road pretty hard. We've done 31 events this year alone, and of course you took part in a couple of those events, Ken. So that's fantastic. And we reached about 10,000 people. When you actually look at how many people we reached for the ministry this year.
Now, we have all of our resources, the AiG resources, our Answers Bible curriculum, our DVDs,
yes,
our
we do.
books, and so on, all available in Canada now.
We've had about 120 churches order the ABC curriculum this year. Over 20 churches ordered the VBS. So yeah, we've got our warehouse up and running in Cambridge, Ontario, and we're seeing over 50 orders a week right now coming out of that warehouse. So it's incredible.
That's great, because we just really relaunched the ministry in Canada. How many people do you have working in the ministry there?
We've got 4 people now.
Four full-time?
Yep.
4 full-time people, and it's really increasing, which is really great.
Yeah, we're seeing so many Canadians just so excited about the ministry, and we've actually got a year-end, we've got a donor now who's stepped up and given us a $100,000 matching gift, so our donors can actually donate dollar for dollar up to $100,000. Just an incredible blessing from this
So
donor.
that's a sort of an end-of-year challenge.
Absolutely.
So people can double their money.
Yeah, exactly.
That is phenomenal. Yeah, you've been greatly blessed there in Canada with that, and you know, our Answers in Genesis resources haven't been available in Canada for a long time.
That's right.
And now they're available directly in Canada, so you don't have to get them across the border or
and
anything
pay
like
all that extra shipping and all that stuff.
Extra
That's the
shipping
things
and taxes and customs and all the rest of it. We've already organised all that, so that's great. Can people come and visit a bookstore in Canada?
No, they'd have to do it by special appointment. They can come and visit us at the warehouse, but it's not just an open store.
Okay.
They'd have to make an arrangement. Yeah.
Okay, we actually have a store in Australia.
Yeah?
Yeah, people can come and visit during the day, but we'll find out about that in a moment.
Well, Australia is special, right, Ken?
Okay, so Calvin, if they go to our answersingenesis.org website, answersingenesis.org, and you can go and select the country. You can select Canada.
That's right.
And then you can deal direct with the books in Canada.
As a matter of fact, if Canadians go to the Answers in Genesis website, the IP address should just recognize it automatically. If they go to the store, they'll go to the Canadian web store.
So how do they contact you?
They can contact me through the contact information on the answersingenesis.org website. Yeah.
Okay. So beside me here, I have Simon. Simon's from the United Kingdom, and he heads up our office in the United Kingdom and Europe. And you're actually in England.
We're in England, in Leicester, in the central UK.
Which is, it's all part of, England is part of the UK, right?
Yeah, it is part of the UK. Yeah.
So do they call it Britain or?
Britain, UK.
You know, I grew up in Australia, we sort of called it Britain, you know, more than we did UK.
Yeah, it's changed, but Britain, UK, either or.
Okay, so you live far from the Queen?
Well, not too far, just outside.
It's just outside. So you haven't been to Buckingham Palace in recent times?
No, we're not in London, we're in Leicester. But Leicester is famous now in England for their football team and for finding King Richard III in a parking lot.
Oh, I remember that. They dug him up in a parking lot. Yeah.
So that's the place to be.
Okay, so you're not where the Beatles used to be?
No, not in Liverpool.
Not in Liverpool. No. Okay, so Simon, the ministry in England, actually it's been there for quite a long time.
It's been there since 1996, yeah.
1996, and one of the original people that really helped us launch the ministry in England has gone to be with the Lord.
Yeah.
And that was quite some time ago, actually, and he was a special friend.
Yeah.
But you're now heading up the ministry there in the United Kingdom. Do you have a bookstore?
We have a warehouse, a bookstore where people can come and visit. It's in Leicester, and the address will be on the website. But people can come and visit if they want to.
So again, they go to the answersingenesis.org website.
Yeah.
You should recognise they're from the United Kingdom when they go on there.
And just
otherwise, they can select the country.
They can select a country, and our address will be at the bottom.
So they can order all the resources for the United Kingdom.
All the resources that are available here in the US are available there in the UK store, yeah.
And just as Calvin was telling us, he speaks all across Canada, and he's available as a speaker. you go out speaking too.
Absolutely, we speak all over the UK. In fact, I've spoken in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. We recently had a huge conference in the Republic of Ireland, which was really well attended. And
I think I was there.
You were there? Yeah, it was a good 2 days of ministry, and we've even been to Russia earlier on this year in May, and spoke at a few classical Russian schools and a Baptist church. So we have a good reach in the UK and in Europe.
So if people want to request you as a speaker in the United Kingdom, Europe, they go to the answersandgenesis.org website.
Just go to answersandgenesis.org website, and they can phone the offices and book us as speaker.
Get the information there, or request a speaker through the website, or phone the offices. And
it's been a good year for ministry, busy year, as will 2019.
So that's great. We're looking forward to a busy year there, busy year in Canada.
Yeah.
Canada's just relaunched, but it's already moving ahead, and there's some full-time people who work with you over there in the United Kingdom as well. And I know people order the materials. And you know, the Answers Bible curriculum is being used by some churches in the United Kingdom.
Absolutely.
And it's been used by a number of churches now in Canada. Actually, in America, about 10,000 churches. It's unique in the world. It's a 4-year Bible curriculum. It's apologetics, biblical authority, and chronological. And churches here in America are saying it's revolutionizing.
And it nearly sold out at the conference in Athlone. There were a number of pastors who came to that conference, and it sold really well.
So that's, and a lot of those pastors were actually from Ireland, the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
So the evangelical conservative church is sort of just embryonic and rising up, isn't it, in the Republic of Ireland?
In the Republic of Ireland, it's starting to take off, yeah.
So the ministry that's centered here in England is not just for the United Kingdom, it's for the United Kingdom and Europe,
and
really.
United Kingdom, Europe. As I said, we went to Russia. Hopefully we're going to go to Spain next year, and we've got opportunities to go to France. So it's not just the UK, it's all across Europe.
Well, that is great. And we have beside you, Joe. Now, Joe is a little different because I'm going to first of all ask you some questions. I want you to answer in the language that you do most of your talks in, okay? So, Joe, where are you headquartered right now?
En este momento nos encontramos en Querétaro, México.
Oh, he's in Mexico.
Sí, así es.
I understood that word.
Sí.
Yeah, Mexico, is that it?
Así es, Ken.
So, Joe, you actually worked in the AiG offices for quite some time.
Sí, por varios años.
You have such a heart for Latin America, and you do speak Spanish. If people didn't recognize that language, that's Spanish. So I'll get him to speak English now so he all understand.
All right, switch.
So we now have a ministry in Mexico. So tell us whereabouts in Mexico.
About 2.5 to 3 hours northwest of Mexico City. We're in a city of about 2 million, Querétaro, and it's a really good base to go into more Latin America.
Now, we have Answers and Genesis books available in Mexico.
We do.
And in fact, didn't you just get your first load of books that we print in Mexico?
Yes, I spent Thanksgiving Day unloading 4 tons with some people, a truck from printed books in Mexico City. 4 tons, over 11,000 books. I'm so excited to finally have them down there.
Because we know there's massive problems in trying to get our literature, into other countries and into Mexico, and then the prices because of the printing costs in America and so on. You were able to start printing some of our literature in Mexico to make it much more available and affordable for people.
Yes, and in the Spanish language, we're so happy to have them in the Spanish language. There's over 600 million Latin Americans, and they don't have these resources in their languages. It's the first time in all their history, so we're really happy.
You speak in Mexico, but you speak all across Latin America.
Yes.
And the thing that amazes me, in fact, you were just over there with one of our speakers, Dr. Andrew Snelling. What amazes me in Latin America, the response is much greater than what we get in the United States or anywhere else, because thousands pack auditoriums.
Yes, we've been in stadiums of over 50,000, but an average conference can be 2,000 to 3,000 people in it.
The hunger there is just...
The hunger is great. The Protestant Reformation just hit Latin America in our lifetime, not 500 years for the European.
Isn't that something?
It is great, and it's just the timeliness of it, of Answers in Genesis existing and reaching out at the exact same time the Reformation hits. It's a great opportunity.
We also have a couple of missionaries we support in Peru.
Yes, Krios and Elizabeth Ramdas.
Yes.
Krios is Caribbean, from Trinidad and Tobago, but he and his wife, who's Peruvian, they're in Peru. They're doing over 50 conferences a year just in Peru.
And so we're working with them and we support them as missionaries.
Yes, sir.
And then you're speaking there, and then we send other speakers from Answers in Genesis in the United States to be with you,
Yes.
as we do with Simon as well,
Yes, sir.
over there in the United Kingdom. And so how can people contact you?
If they speak Spanish, info, como información, @respuestasdegenesis.org. If you speak English, jowen@answersingenesis.org.
Okay. Jowen@answersingenesis.org.
Yes. Also, that we have a page. The page Answers in Genesis /ES, or just type in Respuestas en Genesis, transliteration from Answers in Genesis into Spanish.org. We have a wonderful page, hundreds of articles, always putting up new ones.
So we do, Spanish is our biggest translation
It
language,
surely
other
is.
than English.
Yes.
It's our biggest translation language. And we've got a tremendous number of materials
Yes,
now in
we even
Spanish.
have
Even a
VBS.
BBS in Spanish.
Yes, sir, we have VBS.
You're heading up our Spanish ministry,
Yes,
which is
sir.
absolutely phenomenal, mind-blowing. Okay, and so we have one other guest here. This is David. He happens to be related to me, but then so is Joe, and so is Simon, and so is Calvin, because we all go back to Noah, so we're all related,
There you
right? But he actually happens to be my younger brother. I'm not that much older, just a little bit. Anyway, but David has actually a construction business in Australia, in Brisbane, and what he's done there is he threw his staff out of their lunchroom and turned it into an Answers in Genesis bookstore, and you have all the Answers in Genesis materials there. And then he turned his warehouse into mainly a warehouse for Answers in Genesis materials.
I think I have about 6 foot by 6 foot for the construction business, and the rest of the warehouse is books. So
books.
we're really excited about that.
So what we're doing right now is we have others that are involved in Australia as well. I think of Carol, she's involved in administration. And,
Yep, that's right.
And there are others.
And Michael and Peter.
Michael and Peter, and Michael's wife too, as a coordinator for our speaking engagements. So in fact, I'll be over in Australia in March doing a conference in Sydney and one in Hobart, Tasmania.
That's right, yep.
And
it's getting all organised at the moment.
So it's not just Australia, it's Australia and New Zealand.
We've just
particularly.
spent a week in New Zealand actually, and it went really well. The people were hungry for the apologetics that we offer.
And you were using Brian Osborne, who's one of our
Brian.
speakers here in America. Brian's a great dynamic speaker, and he went over there and went on tour in New Zealand. And the hunger was phenomenal.
Yeah.
In fact, you even sold out of some of the books.
We sold out of a
didn't
lot of
send
books.
enough.
That's right. We had to transport them all from Australia again.
So there's a real hunger there, and a lot of the pastors want us to come back and do some conferences.
They do,
Bigger
yes.
conferences.
Yep.
So we'll do that. Again, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, you can just go to answersingenesis.org. It should recognise the country. If not, you can go up and you can select Australia.
Yep.
And you can order the books now, all the Answers in Genesis resources that haven't been in Australia for many, many years. We sort of relaunched the ministry over there, and it's growing. And
In fact,
more
and
and more
the
requests.
Answers curriculum, Bible curriculum, has really taken off now as well. I've got to take some back in my suitcase because we've run out.
Oh, so we'll have to get some more shipped over there. The Answers Bible curriculum, it is, Simon, you're finding a tremendous interest in that in the United Kingdom, and Calvin's finding tremendous interest in Canada. We don't have it in Spanish yet.
I want it in Spanish.
He wants it in Spanish. It would do really, really well. It would be very much used.
Well, there would be. It's not like people have to choose from. This would really be about the only one available. Yeah.
So, we need to do that. We're trying to do that, actually. We have some full-time translators at the ministry, and we work with others. But there we have it. So, Answers in Genesis, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, Europe, Australia and New Zealand, I should say, and Mexico and Latin America. Is Mexico considered part of Latin America?
It is. Latin America is composed of 19 countries, I believe, that either speak Spanish or Portuguese.
Okay, can you name all 19?
I can.
Can you?
Yes,
Go
and
on.
their capitals.
I want to hear it.
Okay, there's Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, and
I think you said Brazil twice.
oh no, yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. Did you know we have a full-time person who speaks Portuguese
Yeah.
She's got a PhD actually in paleontology, who's coming on board with the ministry.
The interesting thing with her is she was actually an atheist. And a creation speaker spoke in her university, and then he directed her to Answers in Genesis resources. And now she just got her PhD in geology with a focus on paleontology, just to give back.
And she's coming to work with Answers in Genesis.
She
speaks
said that's the
Portuguese.
reason she did it.
She speaks really good English.
Yes.
Much better English than my Spanish.
Yes, we have a tour with her and the same creation speaker, the Letter to Christ, in 2020 for a whole month through Brazil to start AiG Brazil.
Wow, that is phenomenal. So we have basically our week where we have the people in charge of the ministries in other countries who've come in here, and we're at the Ark today, and we're just going to be talking about plans for the future and how to increase the ministry in all these countries, and excited that God has brought all you people together to be a part of this, and excited that we've got Gabriela coming on as our Portuguese speaker. She is very, very knowledgeable. I was so impressed when I talked to her, and she's so, because she became a Christian because of the basically the Creation Apologetics Ministry, and she was going to the Answers in Genesis website there while she was in Brazil. I mean, she has a passion for this ministry, which is really great. So with that, thank everyone for being here.
Thank you.
And people can go check out our international ministry at the answersingenesis.org website. You can look on the right-hand side there. You can click on whichever country. But if you're in those respective countries talked about today, you should automatically, your computer should recognize that. If it's a good computer, if it's my computer, it probably won't, because my computer rebels against me every now and then. It's in the shop now getting fixed because it rebelled against me. So anyway, with that, we will say goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed this little look at our international ministry. Joe, we're going to be actually recording a talk from you, giving all the information happening in Latin America and the thousands coming and so on, and we're going to make that available actually to people in January. And Simon, we want to see that happen in England too.
We want to see
UK is a pretty hard place, very hard.
Yeah, tough secular nation.
I mean, England actually has the lowest church attendance in any of the UK nations.
It's probably about 4.3, maybe even less than that.
Yeah, I heard it was below 5 now, and it's getting towards 4%.
It's close to 4%.
So need to pray for some. Australia's pretty difficult too. What about 5% go to church? I think I saw the statistics. What about Canada, Calvin?
We're at about 10% right now, and that includes the mainline churches, but it is dropping rapidly. We're losing churches by the week. In the province of Quebec right now, we're losing a church a week.
Wow.
So that's what's happening in our Western world, and the opposite is happening
Yes.
in Latin America.
Yes, Latin
Just
America is
amazing.
500 years behind, so the Reformation just hit now.
Well, we need the Reformation now to spread from Latin America to
Yes, that is a message I'm
to the
telling
rest
them.
of the
You
Western
take
world.
this, and now you take it to the rest of the world.
Exactly. Okay. Well, enjoy your day.